This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. Just drinking my pre-run coffee from my official The Hannibal TV coffee mug that is available on our merchandise store, which you can find at thehannibaltv.com or in the description of this video. I never thought I was going to tell this story publicly. It's a bit of a crazy story, but a version of it is being told wrong, and I guess a false rumor is being spread about me by David Marquez, who runs Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and is involved with the NWA. I don't have any issue with him, by the way. I really wish the NWA all the best. There needs to be different products out there. AEW and WWE aren't really cutting it, but I've heard Rob Feinstein tell me before Dave Marquez was saying some stuff about me. Rick Bassman, who's also working with the NWA right now, recently told me that this David Marquez was telling a story that I went crazy in Las Vegas and missed some booking, which nothing could be further from the truth as far as missing a booking. David Marquez wasn't there. I met David Marquez twice in my life. Once in 2006 when he was running the New Japan Pro Wrestling LA dojo when I did a tryout there, and they used me on the show the day of the tryout. Then I think in 2007, I ran into him in Puerto Rico when he was doing some work for Mario Savaldi there, but those were pretty much only meeting encounters. I never got to know him personally, so I don't know why he's telling these stories about me. So I'll just tell you my version of this story. I never missed any wrestling show I was ever booked on in Las Vegas. Only wrestled 2 times in Las Vegas. Once in 2004 when I was about 21 years old, for 20, and it was for the Cauliflower Alley Club, just on the show that the wrestling show that was put on as part of the Cauliflower Alley Club the year Antonio Inoki was receiving an award. I was in a battle royal, have good memories of that. And then the second time was in 2006 when I was about 23 on a WWE booking where I ended up wrestling Eugene on Sunday Night Heat. So I made both of those bookings, but I did have a bit of an incident, but it had nothing to do with my bookings, and it didn't affect the bookings whatsoever. And I think where he's getting this story from is he had a friend, his name was Andy, and I actually met this friend of David Marquez at that LA Dojo New Japan tryout. And when I got booked for the WWE tour, which was Phoenix for the pay-per-view, where I think Undertaker was wrestling the Great Khali, Vegas for Raw, and Bakersfield for SmackDown in California, I messaged this guy because he said, if you're ever in this area, look me up. I was poor at the time. I was wrestling for WWC Puerto Rico. I lived in Calgary, but I was in the process of going back to Puerto Rico. So anyways, I called to see if I could stay with them for the Vegas show. He said, not only can you stay with me in Vegas, but I have family for the Phoenix. I'll drive with you to Phoenix, meet me in Vegas, and you can stay with me in Vegas, but you can also stay with my family in Phoenix. And he had like a great car. I forget exactly what it was. It was like a convertible, but he's like, we can drive to Phoenix and back in my convertible. And that was a lot of fun. I remember listening to Poison. But here's the crazy story, okay? There was a lot of factors that went into this. I had worked at my bouncing job the night before I was supposed to leave. At this time, I was staying with my girlfriend, she wasn't my girlfriend. I was broken up with her, but I was about to go back to Puerto Rico. So I was just staying there, sleeping in the basement out of convenience. But she had a dog that I was close with. So I get home from my bouncing job. I was supposed to sleep that night wake up the next day, drive to Vegas that day after a good night's sleep. So I'd been up the whole day. I get back from my bouncing job, and the dog was lost. The dog had escaped. We searched, we couldn't find the dog. And at that point, I was so freaked out because we had lost the dog, which we ended up finding while I was gone, but I couldn't sleep. So I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm just going to drive to Las Vegas. And that's like a 22-hour drive or so from Calgary to Las Vegas. So I drove after being awake all day, straight from Calgary to Las Vegas. I think I arrived in Vegas at like 11:30 p.m. the next night, Vegas time, which I think was an hour earlier than Calgary time. And when I got to Vegas, this guy said, well, we're just driving to Phoenix tomorrow. Why don't I show you around? Okay, so I'd already been up, like at this point, 48 hours. But I'm like, the hell with it. I'm just going to go out. So, of course, there was drinking and shots and partying involved. And at one point, we were at a stoplight or something, and I saw some cute girls that I really liked. And I guess I got out of his car and went to go talk to the girls. And he never found me again the rest of that night. And what ended up happening is I ended up meeting some girls, getting a hotel room that night, basically having a threesome, then waking up to find the girls gone, my cell phone gone, my wallet gone. Luckily, my passport was with my bag of stuff in this guy's house. But yeah, I basically woke up to find out that I was robbed. Luckily, at that time, I didn't have any money. So there really was nothing but my ID and my cell phone gone. But in Vegas, I found out that if you get robbed, the police won't really help you. I went to the police station. They weren't going to do anything about it. And they wouldn't even drive me to my friend's house. Like they would do that in Canada. If you got robbed, they'd at least drive you to your house. So I was basically stranded. I had no money. Luckily, some people heard my story when I was telling it to the cops, and they felt bad for me. And they gave me $20 to take a cab to my friend's house, which I got to his house, and he's like, oh, I thought you just got arrested or something or thrown in the drunk tank. I'm like, no. I actually had a pretty good night other than being robbed. But other than that, the girls were extremely gorgeous, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. So we drove from there. I barely slept, and then we had to drive to Phoenix, where I finally slept. Then did the three WWE shots with no issues, and you were paid as an extra in cash. I think it was $250 American a night. So my money problems weren't a big issue. As I said, I had like practically nothing on my credit card, no money in my bank account in those days. So the worst it was my ID stolen. So that's the story. There was no bookings missed. I didn't go crazy. I was 23 years old. I got drunk, jumped out of a car, chased after some girls. So that's the end of it. And yeah, so that's the story. I just wanted to clear that up before any other rumors came out of me missing shows. I've never missed shows. I'm very reliable. I've always had a good reputation for attending shows, and these days I rarely even drink. And when I do drink, it's a couple glasses of wine. So have a good night, everyone. David Marquez. I hope that clears that up for you, so you don't have to tell that other story anymore. Good luck with your NWA pay-per-views.